I'm a conservative person. I'm more conservative than the people that think they're conservative. But here's the thing. They talk about free trade. Free trade. I'm a free trader. The problem with free trade is you need smart people to negotiate your deals, right? We don't have smart people. We have the smartest people, but we don't use them. We use political hacks. So free trade's fine. So one of these guys standing right back there, look at all those cameras on. All live television. How would you like to do this twice a day, every day, live television? Nobody else has live television. They all have no television. And they get up and they read 22 minutes of speech. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Same speech. And they'll read it 200 times. 200 times during a campaign, like a primary. And then they wonder, how come Trump beat us? How come? But here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. So Hillary went now. She's going to disapprove TPP. Except the governor of Virginia, the current governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, is, I think, closer to Hillary than Bill Clinton. Okay, that's a pretty big thing. I believe it. Terry is closer than Bill. He knows her better than Bill does. The governor of Virginia made a statement the other day. And he said in his statement, and it caused them lots of, don't worry, she's going to approve it. She'll make a couple of changes, she's going to approve it. You know what the changes are? Like, take the comma out. Let's move the sentence over here. Not going to make, she's going to approve it. And it's going to be a disaster for Pennsylvania. It's going to be a disaster for the country. But in particular, it's going to be a disaster for Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan. It's going to take the rest of your businesses out. Some of these states have lost 50% of their manufacturing. You're going to lose the other 50%. And by the way, and I said it before, right now, as we stand here and sit, look at this. These people, they could sit, they don't even want to sit. Is it that exciting? Is it that exciting? They don't even want to sit. Look at them. Look at these people. They don't even want to sit. But right now, as we stand here, thank you. Right now, as we stand here, Mexico and your companies are negotiating to leave Pennsylvania. They're going to be leaving you like fools. Not with me. Not with me. So I've watched over a period of 10 years, not just with Obama. I've watched previous to Obama. I've watched as people come up and they say, and I've dealt with the politicians, and I work with all the politicians. I get along with all, Frank. I get along with Democrats. I get along with them.
Ram trucks are built to work, to play.
To my family, to my company, to my employees. I got a huge company. I got a great company, but I get along with everybody. I know how to do it. I know how to do it. But just remember, when it comes time to make these deals, and by the time you go home, let's say 25 times, there'll be another company left. Because I have a list of companies that have left the state of Pennsylvania that I'm not going to read because it's horrible. Because I don't have enough time to read it. There's so many of them. But they've left Pennsylvania mostly for Mexico. I have a friend. He builds plants. Big, big plants. He's, I think, the biggest in the world. What? Hershey. I don't know what the hell. Do you have a Hershey? I like Hershey too. They closed little divisions, right? They closed divisions. Hershey closed. In fact, I know somebody that knows that for a fact. Hershey closed some divisions. But what happens, this man builds plants, big, big, big plants. He's one of the biggest in the world. And I said, how are you doing? He said, unbelievable. I said, great. So the United States is doing well? No, not really. I said, is it doing good? No. But Don, you have to see Mexico. We are building the most incredible plants anywhere. It's like the eighth wonder of the world. He said that to me last night because I called him. I wanted reaffirmation. He said, Mexico is building some of the biggest, most incredible plants in the world. He said, it's unbelievable. I said, what about the United States? He said, not good. Our companies are moving to Mexico and other places. And we're allowing it to happen. And I've watched this. I've watched it over the years. And I've watched these politicians in Washington who don't know a thing, who use political hacks, people that gave campaign contributions to do the negotiation. Instead of using Carl Icahn and who endorsed me, by the way. Carl, a lot of the greatest business, we have the greatest business people in the world. We don't use them. And they'd love to do it. And they don't want money. They want to do it. It's like a chess game for them. And they love the country in their own perverse way. Okay? You know. Not all of these people are nice. Carl's nice. But not all these people are nice. Some are horrible, horrible human beings. Do you care? Do you care if they're horrible human beings? I don't. Some of them don't sleep at night. Some of them turn and toss and sweat. And they think, oh, they're thinking all the time, how am I going to, and they're turning and tossing and sweating, and it's disgusting. And these are the people we want negotiating for us, right? Because they don't want to happen what's happening to our country. And a very good friend of mine who's a businessman asked me, how could a certain deal, there was a deal that was made recently, that's so bad for this country. And they said, how could that happen? I said, two reasons. Number one, dishonest politicians. And number two, very importantly, they just don't know. Number three, by the way, is they're controlled by their special interests and their lobbyists. They're totally controlled. Now, let me tell you about that, because that's interesting. So, as you know, I funded my primary campaign. I don't want money. I don't want money. So I funded. So I'm in for like $60 million. That's a lot of money, you know. Especially considering everyone said, oh, he's never going to run. Never going to run. And once I ran, they all said, well, he ran. A little surprised, but he'll never run. Then I got 6%, right? They said, well, he's hit his ceiling. Congressman, they said, I hit my ceiling at 6. Then the next week, I got 12. They said, that's surprising. That's very good in 2 weeks. But this is it. He's hit his ceiling. Then I went to 18, 20. Then I went to 22, I went to 28. I went to 29, I went to 32, I went to 40. They kept saying he hit his ceiling. And then at around 42, when we had 14 people, think of it. I won Massachusetts, I almost got 50%. Can you imagine Massachusetts? Well, Tom Brady likes me, so that's good. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. And Coach Belichick. But you know what, Massachusetts, think of it. Almost 50% with many people in there. And these guys said, he didn't hit 50%. How do you hit 50%? I had one where I had 38%. And I had many people, because we had the largest field ever to run, right? Remember Charles Krauthammer and some others? Before I got in, because this is the most talented field of politicians that has ever been assembled in the history of our country to run for political office. I went to my wife and family. I said, man, they must be good. These guys, they must be great. And I said, I'm going to run anyway. What the? One by one. And here we are. And you know, I'll tell you what has happened. So many people have said, this is one of the greatest movements ever in the history of American politics. It is. And don't forget. So we have another room almost this size with almost as many people in. But we have 6,000 people, I was just told, outside that have been forced to leave. This is like peanuts compared. We've had 41,000, 35,000 people. But you know what? It's a movement like they've never seen in this country. And I say it because he's a smart guy, and there are others that have said the same thing. Bill O'Reilly said that Donald Trump and what's happened with politics under Donald Trump is the single greatest political phenomenon I've ever seen. And others have said it. So I get a call from a very respected writer, liberal writer, but that's okay. He's honorable. And he said, Mr. Trump, he called me in September. And then he called me again recently. But in September, it was called the Summer of Trump, and he thought that was fantastic. He had no idea I was going to win. But I did really well in the summer. So they called it the Summer of Trump. Then they called it I can't say the Fall of Trump, so I call it the Autumn of Trump, right? You don't want the Fall of Trump. You want the Autumn of Trump. Somebody said, well, it's the summer and the fall. I said, no, don't use the word fall. But here's the thing. So he called, he said, Mr. Trump, it's been the Summer of Trump. It's been amazing. You've so many different states. Did you ever think this was going to happen? Did you ever think? Then he said, can you imagine? But he talked about it. We had tremendous crowds. No matter where we went, it was like this. I mean, like this. Thousands of people turned away. He said, well, but if it doesn't work out, just wait some. He says, no, you don't understand. It doesn't have to work out. What happens? Now I get a call recently. Now we win the nomination. We win in a landslide. We're doing well in the polls. In fact, a poll just came out. We're leading in Pennsylvania, which is very nice. We're leading. Another poll, the LA Times just came out. We're leading nationally. We're doing great. We're leading in Ohio. We're doing great. Look, who knows? But he said, it doesn't matter if you win or not. What you've done is going down in the history books. I said, you don't understand. You don't understand. If we don't win on November 8th, you got to get out and vote. If we don't win on November 8th, I will consider this a tremendous waste of time, energy, and money. Believe me. Because you can't do what we have to do. We can't do what we have to do to make our country great again. We can't do it. So what's the purpose of it all? I would have rather lost a year ago. Would have been easier. So here's the story, folks. We have to get out. We have to get out on November 8th. You have to get every friend. Probably because I know this country very well. And sadly, like Bernie Sanders. Had a chance. You look at what happened with this person that ran the DNC, right? You look at what happened. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That's a great one. She's a great one. Didn't Hillary, I heard that she got fired so fast, right? But I heard that Hillary actually hired her for her campaign. You know why? I know why. So she's fired because she was crooked. She's fired, and now Hillary hires her for her campaign and pays her with the campaign contributions that are monstrous. Okay. Now, speaking of campaign contributions, folks, we have had, and I have to tell you one, I have to show this. I just wrote it down very simply. Hedge funds. Hillary Clinton, these are people, and some are friends of mine. I just don't want their money, forget it. These are people, and by the way, so I funded my primary, and the general election, I'm putting up money, tremendous money, but we're raising money, and we're raising a lot of money on a small basis, with the people for $25, $50, $100. And it's going to be announced tomorrow or the next day. We've raised, we think, about $35.8 million. This is unheard of for Republicans. $35.8 million. It's going to be higher. That's an average of $69 a head. Think of it. And we have 517,000 people putting up that money. It's unbelievable. Then I'm putting up a lot of money. Then I'm also raising money. Very importantly, I'm raising money for the Republican Party. So I hope they do a good job, or I wasted a lot of time on that too. But they will. Reince will do a good job. Reince is great. He's going to do a great job. But look at this. Hedge funds. Here's what hedge funds have put up. For Hillary Clinton, and by the way, these are smart people. I know many of them. These are very smart people. Hillary Clinton got $48.5 million from hedge funds. That means the hedge funds own this country. Donald Trump got $19,000. And I don't know who gave it to him. So she got $48.5 million, I got $19,000. And I think I'll probably give it back. At 19, I might as well just give it back. I don't know how it even got in there. I don't know how it got in. And by the way, there's a man in the audience, and I feel so sorry for him. I watch him sometimes, although I don't watch CNN very much anymore, I must be honest. But there's a man in the audience who's a terrific guy, And they stack the panels. They have all these total killers, these horrible, some of them are horrible people, like horrible, disgusting people. They're biased, they're racist, they're disgusting people, some of them. Okay? There's disgusting people. And he sits there and he handles it. His name is Jeffrey Lord. Jeffrey. And sometimes they'll have panels. And these are haters. These are people that hate. You know, these are real haters. And you'll have panels 5 to 1, 6 to 1, 7 to 1 plus the announcer. 7 to 1. I saw Jeffrey one night. It looked like they had like 6 people. Every one of them was a killer, a hater. And I watched, the announcer was also a hater. So it was Jeffrey against the world, right, Jeffrey? What can I tell you? But I don't watch anymore because, you know, when things are unfair, I just don't watch. That way you stay young, you stay handsome, right? I don't watch it anymore. I don't watch CNN anymore. It's too unfair. Fox has been treating me very nicely, I have to tell you. Fox, they've been treating me good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that our jobs don't leave anymore. And let me give you an example. The great Bobby Knight endorsed me in Indiana. That was the end of Indiana. Bobby was the greatest. And he endorsed me. He said, you got to run. And this is a year before. And I didn't know him. He called me up, said, Mr. Trump, Coach Knight, sir, you got to run. I said, run for what? Run for president. This was long before, but it was out that I was thinking about doing it. He's an incredible guy. 900 wins. 3 national championships, last undefeated college team, wins the Olympics, wins the Pan Am Games. I mean, the guy, but think of it, 900 games he won. But he called me and said, you got to run. And when I went to Indiana, I had Coach Knight. Now, Coach Knight in Indiana is as good as you could get, right? And I had Coach Knight, and boy, did we do well in Indiana. Boy, did we do well. But what happens is this. We're losing our companies, and we're not going to lose our companies. Now, when I was in Indiana, they had just had, it was a while before, and I was actually using it and talking about it because it was on tape. A man fired the people from Carrier Air Conditioning. Now, it doesn't have to be Carrier. I could name, look, I have the list right here. I could name 25 companies that moved out of this area. I could name 50 companies that moved out of Pennsylvania, moved to Mexico and other places. But they fired Carrier, and they announced in front of, you know, with the cell phone cameras. They're wonderful. Cell phone cameras. They had it on television. If I didn't see it on television, it wouldn't have made the same impact. Because you wouldn't have seen the grief. You wouldn't have seen the heartache of people that have been there for 30 years being told they're fired. That the company is moving to Mexico. So I've watched for years as this country has come up with all sorts of plans. Low interest loans, 0 interest loans, tax abatements, all sorts of things. These companies don't need that money. But they're not given any incentive. So what happened is I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to charge that company, or any company. I don't want to use that company only. Thousands of companies have left our country. Now, when they leave, there have to be consequences. So they fire their people. Now, if I'm president, my wife always says, please don't call, please. I'm president. But I love doing it. It's so easy. I would call up or have one of my people from Wall Street or from whoever, who are phenomenal negotiators. All you do is you call up and you tell the head of Carrier, the head of whoever it is that's moving, congratulations, enjoy your new plant in Mexico. But every air conditioning unit that you make that's sold into the United States, there's going to be a 35% tax put on there as you cross our strong border. Every single one. Every single one. Okay? And here's what's going to happen. If it's Hillary, they're going to hire a lobbyist or a special interest group, get them involved, and she'll absolutely back down. You can't do that, Hillary, crooked Hillary. You can't do that. You can't do that. These people gave you millions of dollars for your run for president. You can't do it. With me, I don't need anybody's money. I'm putting my money in. I'm getting small contributions. I don't need money. So what happens? They'll call me. I'll say, I have no interest. I don't want to take the call. Don't bother. I know half of these guys. And they're good. You know what they have on their forehead? It's like emblazoned. It says, Hillary. They have total control. Total control. With me, none. So here's what happens. I say, you're going to do that. Number one, they're not going to move. If it's too late, they'll move. If it's too late, they're going to pay us a fortune. Every time they're going to pay us. So either way, we don't lose. Nobody wants to do that. You know why? Because the companies that are owned by the Wall Street guys don't like that deal. Even though that's the only way you're going to stop people from losing their jobs in the United States. Now, if they want to move from here to another state and you guys all have to compete, that's different. You know, enjoy yourselves, okay? But they're not moving to Mexico, they're not moving to other countries without consequence. We're going to have consequence, okay? Truth or consequence. No, they're not doing it. So, I guarantee you that Carrier or any one of the thousands of companies that have moved or are going to move will call up and say, Mr. President, we've decided to stay in Indiana, or we've decided to stay in Pennsylvania, or we've decided to stay somewhere in this country. It's going to happen. By the way, not 90%, not 95, 100%. Because their whole numbers are different. It no longer works. Now, we don't want to do that because stupid people that write down for the conservative digests, they go, that's not free trading. You know, it's really amazing. I've told people I want to renegotiate NAFTA, and they don't like it. I said, wait a minute, you don't understand. I'm going to make a better deal. They don't like it. You almost say, why wouldn't they like it? Okay, we have NAFTA, it's a disaster. Steering businesses, taking our businesses like candy from a baby. And I say, I'm going to renegotiate, make it a better deal. And I'll get articles in the newspaper, Donald Trump wants to toy with NAFTA. We're losing a fortune. I want to make good trade deals with other countries, right? Last year, we had $800 billion in trade deficits. $800 billion. You really say, how does our country stay afloat? So I want to take those bad deals and make them good deals. I still like trading, but we may have to walk a couple of times because otherwise you can never do it. So $800 billion, and I say I want to negotiate deals. And you'll have people that write articles. So-called intellectuals, I think I'm much smarter than they are, by the way, just so you understand. And by the way, a lot of the people in this room are a lot smarter than them. A lot of the people, no, it's true. They're not smart people. They're not, you know, they wear the little spectacles. It's like a uniform, little spectacles, everyone thinks they're smart. Look, and they don't like it. So I said, wait a minute, what are you going to do? We're going to keep trading. But instead of losing money, we'll make a little money, we'll bring jobs back. We think that's interfering with trade. I say, what, are these people crazy? So we're going to renegotiate our trade deals. We're going to bring jobs back to Pennsylvania. We're going to rebuild our military. Our military is depleted. We are going to work with NATO. We are going to work with others. And by the way, speaking of NATO, we're going to get the other nations that aren't paying on NATO. Got to pay up, folks. Got to pay up. Did you see the whole thing where Trump doesn't like NATO? I like NATO. I think NATO's great. But they said Donald Trump is against NATO. No, I didn't say that. I said, I want the countries that we're protecting to pay up. They owe us for years. They owe us for years. And you know what? They will pay up. And if they don't, I'm sorry, folks. They actually said, supposing one of these countries is invaded. I said, well, you let me know. I mean, how are we getting along with them? But supposing they're invaded. They said, we have a treaty. I said, yeah, we do have a treaty. And they have a treaty too. They're supposed to be paying. I said, we have the highest tax nation just about anywhere in the world. We're paying 72% the cost of NATO to protect them. We're protecting them and we're paying for it. Why aren't they paying? Okay, why aren't they paying? So, folks, don't worry about it. They'll pay. They'll pay. So we protect Japan. A lot of people don't know. We protect Japan. We protect Germany. We protect Saudi Arabia. We protect so many different countries. We protect South Korea. They've got to pay up. Okay, so here's the story. We are going to make our country great again. We are going to start winning again. We are going to start winning again. We don't win anymore. We're going to win with our military. We're going to beat the hell out of ISIS. We're going to knock them down. We got to do it. We got to do it. By the way, I was against the war in Iraq. We shouldn't have had that war. Destabilize the Middle East. I said that was going to happen. I was against. But the way Obama pulled out was a disaster, okay? It was a disaster. So we're gonna refurbish our depleted military. We're gonna take great care of our vets who are being absolutely mistreated. We're gonna build a great wall at our southern border. We're gonna have a strong wall. And Mexico is going to pay for the war. Mexico's gonna pay, as sure as I'm standing here. And by the way, so congressmen, don't approve any money for the wall, Mexico. Okay? No money for the wall. By the way, people think I'm playing games. I'm not playing games. Mexico, our trade deficit is massive, not including the drugs that are pouring across and poisoning our kids, the heroin and all of the drugs. Mexico, and I have thousands of people, Mexicans working for me. These are incredible. Over the years, thousands and thousands. They're great people. But Mexico, their leaders are too smart for our leaders. And drugs are pouring in. No, we're going to have the wall. The Border Patrol agents endorsed me, 16,500. Sheriff Joe Arpaio endorsed me also. Sheriff Joe. But somebody said, you're not going to really get Mexico to... They used to say, you're not going to build a wall. They said, absolutely. Now they understand that's an easy one, right? China built the Great Wall of China, 13,000 miles, 2,000 years ago. 2,000. This is 1,000 miles we need. It's 2,000, but we have a lot of natural borders. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get Mexico to pay. We have a trade deficit that is so enormous with Mexico. Mexico is making a fortune off the stupidity of our country. So Mexico's going to pay. They'll be very nice about it. Believe me, they're going to be so happy. They're going to be so happy to just have to pay for the wall. But they're going to pay for the wall. They're going to pay. So we're going to have strong borders. We're going to have a great military. We're going to have all of the things I said. We're going to protect our Second Amendment, right? We're going to protect our Second Amendment. We got to get out of it. The NRA endorsed me very early. NRA, great people. They endorsed me very early. We're going to protect our second. We are going to get rid of Common Core. We're bringing our education in. 100%. 100%. We are going to make great, magnificent trade deals. We're going to bring our jobs back to our country. We're going to have strong, powerful deals that bring our jobs back to Pennsylvania and to Ohio and to Michigan and everywhere they've been stolen. And here's the story, folks. We're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. There's going to be a delegation sent to the White House, headed up by our three great congressmen, and Jeffrey Lord is coming along. And they're going to say, Mr. President, the people of Pennsylvania can't take it. You're winning too much. You're making too many great deals, Mr. President. They just can't take it. They don't want to win that much. And I'll say to them, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're going to win even more because we're going to make our country great again. Thank you, everybody.